Hey there, Alex here. Welcome to another episode on Sweet Spot Soul. I'm going to chat a little bit about the waves. I've been asked to talk about the waves of twin flames, but really I want to talk more about like just that there's different perspectives on this journey and they're all to some degree very valid, right? We all have a unique way of seeing this, of experiencing this journey and delivering our offers to help and assist, all of that. And we all have to, at the end of the day, decide what resonates and what doesn't resonate. So I heard a little bit about the waves from Regita. I heard a little bit later after people were asking me about it from, I think it was Kat from Sacred Soul. But I don't really watch many channels. But I had an immediate, after watching Regita, I had an immediate, like my own instinctual sort of lens of the way that I saw what was happening. And so I thought I might share that with you because I've been asked in the comments and by some of my clients as well, just to kind of talk about that. But I think what I want to preface this with is just this whole idea that there are many perspectives and many ways to see this journey and to share it and to put it out in order to assist you on your journey. And I think that the vast majority of people who are putting information out have a pure heart about it. They actually want to serve and they feel called to that mission because of their own journeys. And I think that there are people that may not. And I think that there's just different perspectives all around and ways of navigating the journey that may or may not resonate. And they're all valid in the sense that you get to choose what works for you. And so I don't poo-poo on anyone. Like you choose what resonates. So I wanted to say that because we're all really our own aperture of God. We are our own eye of God. We are all having a unique experience as part of the whole. So we are all just seeing the same thing, going through a similar experience collectively and individually with our own eyes, with our own background, our own um, processing system, like the personality types, right? Like I'm an INFJ. I know that I think in layers. I'm very sciencey. I like to put pieces together, right? Some people just shut down on that, and you wouldn't be on this channel, right? If you shut down on that, because that's how I like to see things. Some people see things more spiritually, right? Talking about Shiva and Shakti and that whole and the yin yang and I see that too. The yin yang is actually important to me as well. But I just see things more in a morphogenic, like sciencey thing, and that's just my way of seeing it. And then there's others that don't really want to focus on like the deeper work, and they just want to focus on getting into union. And then there's others, physical union, I should say, which ultimately is the goal, but sustainability of that, in my perspective, of course, being we still have to get rid of the things that are in the way of that. And the whole journey is about our own ascension or ascension, our own journey back to inner union with soul, which has to be, it just has to be in order for outer union to come into place and be sustainable. That's the key, and be sustainable. Again, that's my perspective. You can take it or leave it because you can certainly bring them in early and just maintain, that type of relationship. That's fine. Again, all different perspectives, all different ways. Nobody's right or wrong. It's all perspective. That's the beauty of being a human. That's a beauty of being a part, an aperture, an eye of God, of the whole. And when you really get that we are all one, then you can appreciate every single angle. And maybe some of those angles are trying to take advantage and trying to make money and aren't really on the up and up. And some of them may not actually be on the journey, but think that they are. And that's fair too. That's their experience. And so we have to discern and really, really, really deeply, come into that space of, does this resonate or does this not resonate? So I just wanted to share that piece with you because I'm really like, a lot of people are like, they're wrong and they get mad about other teachers and stuff. And I just trust that you can discern that for yourself, right? So anyways, all of that said, think I had something I wanted to actually say here today. Yes, I wanted to talk about the waves. So, talking about the waves, the way I see the waves, honestly, we meet our twin. We are energetically the same frequency as our twin. We are, and you know, I have my frequencies measured, my scalar frequencies measured. I have that offered on my website, by the way. I don't do it. I have somebody else do it. I love that stuff. I love to be able to assess what's going right, what's going wrong around, like, where am I, you know, where do I have room for growth? How, you know, all that. So that's all on my website, or on the web page that I have, sweetspotsoul.com. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is I have my frequencies read, and in doing that, one of the things I learned when I did my lifetime frequencies, and I did like every year of my life, like they actually look at when you're, you know, what you were incarnated at, what you were in utero, when you were born. There's usually a big drop between your incarnation frequency and when you drop, and when you're born, and then like your life, right? And just like milestones and were the emotions that were active during those times and where you are now. And it's fascinating, right? And your twin's the same. They incarnated at the same as you, and maybe they have different life and they had different drops and so on in their life, different karma, different things that they've accumulated that they need to work through. It's fascinating. I didn't do my twin stuff. I'm just saying, like, I did mine and then I did a compatibility of us. But the coolest thing is that what I believe when it comes to these waves is that we meet our twin when we match, or when we reach our incarnate, because we always drop from incarnate when we're incarnated and when we're born. When you reach your incarnate frequency, like for me, it was 310 was my incarnate. When I reached 310 and a little bit above, that's when the circumstances came together that I met my twin. It wasn't before that. It was when I was at the point that I had come in and I was ready to get to the next level. Now, granted, I had dropped all the way to 50 early in my life, and I struggled and struggled, and I was a personal growth junkie. My whole journey began in the early 2000s, and I had awakenings in the early 2000 and the 2012 and 2017 and 2020. Like, I had major awakening after awakening after awakening. But when I finally got to it was actually 350 or close to that real deep acceptance level, that's when I met my twin. And that's when we were matching at the same incarnate level. Okay. And so that happened last year. So if you're looking at the waves, that would be the third wave, right? They talk about a wave that was in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, and then there was one in the later 2000s and one later. Think about, as I'm constantly teaching with the scale of consciousness, if you look at the scale of consciousness collectively, we were not where we are right now. We are all growing so fast with the solar flares and the frequent, everything is going up so fast. We are growing so quickly right now. This is the age of awakening. We are in awakening. And so if you met in the mid early 2000s, the separation consciousness at that time was much lower on the scale. So way more contention going on in that separation consciousness when you're down there in shame and guilt and anger and down in those levels. For twins to come together at that point would be much more difficult. As you move up, and then maybe perhaps you got to the levels of around 200, 250. Now you're looking at neutrality, a new wave of twins that had incarnated at that level, right? Are now meeting at that point, or they're meeting at that level of a little bit closer into awakening, right? A little less distorted, a little less in separation consciousness. But it doesn't mean that the ones that met earlier haven't risen to that. It just means the first wave has climbed their way to the next wave. The next wave came in. That third wave, I see, that has come in from this massive awakening around 2020 and on to 2024. Huge awakening with COVID and all the disclosure and all the things falling apart. And you can't miss that. Does it mean that you didn't do all this growth? No, it just meant that that's what it took for you to get to that level, closer to the 350s. closer to those higher levels of love, of acceptance, right? And that's why those that have met later are coming into union faster. They're considered more in the heart, less of the egoic stuff that they need to get through, less of the early awakening stuff that they need to get through. It's all levels of consciousness or levels of distortion of separation consciousness. And we just, collectively, we've all been moving up. And as twins, we are the leaders in this, right? We're like the way showers in this. We just kind of are the pioneers in this. And so you meet your twin right when you've gotten just to that point, you hit your own incarnate level, and it was time to catalyze and to push you to the next, right? That's how I see the waves. What does that all mean? Nothing. It can mean whatever you want it to mean. It just means, okay, there's a perspective. There's another way to see it, but your journey is still the same. It's still coming into inner union. It's still letting go of limiting beliefs, letting go of distortions and miasma and the different things that have kept you or that are keeping you from blending fully within in your masculine, feminine, Eros, Gamos balance, left, right hemisphere synchronization, mind, heart coherence, and then allowing that twin to be able to go through their process and then be able to merge with you and come in with you and then get up to that next level, of which will be yet another video. But are you seeing that it doesn't matter what you want to call it? Nobody is on a faster path or a slower path than anyone else. Yes, I met my twin as a third wave, but I've been growing and pushing and pressing and suffering and all of that since the early 2000s, really since I was born, but consciously growing, well, really since I was put into therapy at 8 years old. But I still would say that my first real awakenings started early 2000s, early 2000s. And the greatest part of my awakening came after I met my twin, right? So take it or leave it for what it is, but I just don't want you to say, this is right, this is wrong, who's right, what does this mean? Oh my gosh, did I miss the boat? Do I need to move on? Just be where you are, know what your role is, come into inner union, come into peace, come into balance, honor that over anything else before you move into other things. Pull it in, bring it to yourself, come into that inner union, and then everything outside of you will begin to reflect and manifest in the highest and best order, in perfect timing, divine, absolutely divine. And you'll just know what to do next. It's just, it's a beautiful thing. So if I can help you along your journey, let me know, please. I've got information down below. Happy to take a quick call with you if you're interested in learning more about the services that I have to help you to alchemize, to help you to get focused on what to let go of and get actually through that to the other side, to come into inner union, which is what I help people with. So let me know if I can help you out. Otherwise, and until then, till the next one, thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next video.